Yeah, just a quick review of the Isotoner women and men's arthritis gloves. So these are gloves that are made specifically that have people that have hand arthritis. And they work two ways in order to get rid of the symptoms of hand arthritis. The first way is that they provide compression, and compression helps get rid of the swelling. And then once you get the swelling down, you'll move your fingers better and symptoms are better. The other thing they do is they also provide warmth. And we all know that heat always helps arthritic symptoms. So those are the two main ways that these gloves work to help decrease the symptoms of hand arthritis. So a few points about these particular gloves. They do have an open finger design, so it's going to be easy to work your phone. You have a touch screen, so you don't have to worry about not being able to use your phone with these on. And the other thing that you can do activities that you might not or otherwise have been able to do, like say if people like to sew a lot or do knitting or crocheting or that kind of stuff. If you have a closed finger design, you really can't do those fine motor skills, those kind of things. But hey, you can put these gloves on and you can get the symptoms down. And now because of the open finger design, you can do things, like sewing and knitting and so on. The other thing I want to bring up is that these are actually one of the few arthritis gloves that I've looked at that actually tell you how many millimeters of mercury of compression they have. So compression, whether it be like hose, like socks, like hose that you put on, compression socks, compression hose, and compression gloves, even arm sleeves. Medical grade, they always tell you how much the degree of compression it is. And compression measures of millimeters of mercury, just like the blood pressure cuff, just like your blood pressure. A lot of these arthritis gloves I see, they say, well, they provide compression, but you don't really know how much. It's like buying something for your skin like retinol, but you don't know what percentage of retinol is in there. Is there just a little bit or is there a lot? Is there a therapeutic amount? So I like Isotoner gloves because I have reviewed another pair and same thing. They tell you exactly how many millimeters of mercury of compression they provide. These provide between 23 and 32. So that's about a moderate degree of compression, which I think is good. You don't want too little, but you don't want too much either. You just won't be able to wear them for very long. So very good. Kudos to Isotoner. So permanent temporary relief, how does this work? Well, basically, they're going to work while you have them on. Usually after about 30 to 60 minutes when you put these on, your hand heats up, the compression drives out some of the swelling, and you're able to do a lot of things more easily than you were before. Likewise, if you take them off, once the heat wears off after 30, 60 minutes, kind of back where you started. However, I think there is a way to use these gloves actually to get long-term relief and get more permanent symptom relief. So it's going to take a multi-pronged treatment approach. You're going to have to do a couple things to get there. Gloves are fine. They enable you to do things you might not otherwise be able to do, like exercise. So exercise is something that we know is a proven treatment for arthritis. We know that if you get your hands stronger and you get your hands more flexible, you're going to be feeling better. That's just the way it works. Lots of studies that prove that. But you can't do any hand exercises now because your hands hurt. They're stiff, painful. Just can't do them. So what you do is you put the gloves on, and then for about 30 to 60 minutes, you're able to move your hands a little better. And now you can do some hand exercises. So as an example, treat your own hand and thumb osteoarthritis. You can do like range of motion exercises. So if you go to like hand therapy or occupational therapy, they're always going to have you do range of motion exercises. So why is that? Well, one big reason is because the little joints in fingers are synovial joints. Okay, in your hand, they're synovial joints, and they secrete synovial fluid. The synovial fluid, it brings nutrition to the cartilage that's wearing down in your joints. And how does this synovial fluid get spread around? Through motion. So if you take someone who has a hand that's really stiff and you can't move it through the full range of motion, or you're just not moving it frequently enough, you're not getting that synovial fluid, which brings nutrition to the joint, spread around evenly like it should. And so everything kind of suffers. So range of motion exercise help get rid of stiffness and spread that synovial fluid around. And you don't have to spend all day doing range of motion. We're talking like a few minutes a day. You got to know specifically which ones to do. The other thing you can do is work on getting your hands stronger. This, for instance, you can just buy a light dumbbell like at Walmart, 1 or 2 pounds, and it has some exercise you can do to strengthen your fingers and your wrist. And base of your thumb, a lot of people as they get older, they have base of the thumb arthritis. That's real common. So what can you do about that? Well, there's a muscle called your abductor pollicis longus, and it attaches right to the base of your thumb. And it helps, that's right where all the problems are at. That's right where you're feeling the pain. So you strengthen your abductor pollicis longus and you get more joint stability. It's going to help a lot with your symptoms. Basically because it's going to control the motion of your thumb joint better. And if you can control that motion better, you're not going to get that excessive motion that comes along with arthritis, and your symptoms are going to be a lot less. So we're just talking about exercise you do a couple times a week, like a rubber band. So lots you can do, but hey, can't do it now. Put on the gloves, enable to do the exercises week by week. As your hands get more flexible and stronger, you're going to get more permanent relief. So good pair of gloves. Check them out.